It is another Thank God Friday to the weekend. I am Melissa Enoch here at the FMDQ studios in Lagos.
And I'm Grace Agbarago. It's the 26th of September. I hope you've all had a great week so far.
All right, let's now tee off with your news now. The African Export-Import Bank is pursuing arbitration against Zambia in a dispute over debt relief, according to sources familiar with the matter. Zambia's Treasury Secretary Felix Nkulukusa disclosed the development to investors in London last week, referring further comments to the country's Attorney General, who has not responded. The move could set a precedent for other nations seeking to restructure loans they can no longer afford. In energy news, at a fireside chat, International Energy Agency Chief Fatir Beryl shared insights on the state of global energy markets, warning of emerging risks to energy security while urging governments and industry to take steps towards a more affordable, secure, and sustainable energy future. Let's now take a listen.
We talk about energy security, we normally think about oil, gas. These traditional energy security issues are still there, but for me, the next energy security issue is the critical minerals. Now, a few things. First of all, critical minerals problem is not only the issue, they are not only used for the electric car, they are used panels and so on, but they are used for defense, drones, AI, chips, manufacturing, car manufacturing, and everything. Second thing is when people think about critical minerals, the most of the people think about the mining. Mining is one issue, and there's already the concentration there. But the most important issue, the nerve center of the problem, is the refining and processing these things. So there are colleagues from the oil industry here. Crude oil doesn't mean anything unless you refine it and you make out of this, I don't know, jet fuel or gasoline or diesel or LPG. And China today, of all the strategic critical minerals, China's share in refining is 70%. 70% China, 30% everybody else put together. For example, Australia has 60% of the lithium production, but it can process only 2% of it. Australia sends to China, and then afterwards, when it finishes, it takes it back. So the world has a bit slept, and China built since 10 years in a very well-organized, strategic way their with the large-scale manufacturing capacity, all this refining, and the world is today is facing a major challenge. I am not saying that China will do this or China will do any country, because for me, the number one rule of energy security, golden rule, is diversification.
And now in earnings news, Zimbabwe-listed Padenga Holdings Limited has reported a 187% surge in half-year profit to $26.29 million for the 6 months ended June 30, 2025, driven by stronger gold prices. The group's mining unit, Dalaglio Investments, reported turnover of $123.37 million, up 41% and contributing over 94% of total revenue. Overall, group revenue climbed 38% to $130.68 million, with agribusiness making up the remainder. Now in Mauritania, the Arab Africa Trade Bridges Program has launched a strategic initiative to boost wheat seed multiplication and strengthen the wheat value chain. Implemented with the Arab Center for the Studies of Arid Zones and Drylands and the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation, the project aims to cut import dependence by expanding local production of high-yield seeds. It is being rolled out with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Sovereignty, building on a 2023 MOU, and highlights AATB's commitment to food security and sustainable development. Over to South Africa, Electricity Minister Kosiento Ramagopa has outlined new interventions aimed at ending load reduction, speaking at a media briefing earlier today. He said the measures form part of government's broader plan to stabilize the power grid and improve supply to communities hardest hit by outages. Let's now take a listen to him.
On the resolution of load shedding, and I said to the country that I'll be the first one to stand before the nation and state boldly that we've ended load shedding. And that before that time comes, I want to say that we are doing everything possible to eliminate it. So you can see that we are achieving exceptional results at the height of load shedding in 2023 early, around February, March. We had the energy availability factor, that is the performance of the generation fleet, was sitting at about 48%. And now as I speak to you, we're consistently above 70%. And I'm confident that we'll continue to push that number up, and hence you see that the lights remain on. The second challenge that is confronting us is the one on the cost of electricity. I've stood here before the country and gave you the assurance that we're working on the resolution on the cost of electricity. From 2007 to 2024, last year, electricity has increased by 937% compared to an inflation over the same period that has increased by about 155%. So you can see that it's eroding the disposable income of many households. It's not just affecting the poor, of course, it's affecting the poor disproportionately, but the middle class, even the high income earners, are finding it exceptionally difficult to afford the cost of electricity. And of course, it manifests itself in the South African economy, making our goods not competitive on the market. So we're doing everything to resolve that. I give you this assurance that we're going to resolve that. I'll come back to you.
Finally, on News Now, Vodacom has unveiled a virtual willing platform to give companies with multiple sites across South Africa access to renewable energy. Developed in partnership with Eskom, the platform will also power Vodacom's own operations, a major step in reforming the electricity supply industry. Unlike physical electron flow, virtual wheeling relies on credit reconciliation, guaranteeing buyers their agreed energy allocations at the contracted price. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now. The show returns shortly with our markets round with Grace at the archives room. Stick around. Welcome back to Money Moves. Let's now go over to Grace for today's markets review. Hello there, Grace.
Hi, Melissa. Now let's track how the markets are wrapping up for the week, starting off with equities. In Nigeria, the NGX All-Share Index closed on the positive, up 0.69%. The BRVM in Abidjan dipped 0.12%. Nairobi Stock Exchange closed on the positive, up 0.05% to 177.89. In North Africa, Morocco's MASI fell 0.69%. And in South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange added 0.41%. Let's now do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The rand firmed 0.21% to 17.39 rand per dollar, while the Egyptian pound dipped 0.04% to 48.11. The CFA franc strengthened 0.75% to 562.17, while Kenyan shilling slipped 0.04% to 129.20. Meanwhile, the Moroccan dirham rose 0.34% and the naira edged up 0.06% to 1,486 naira 52 kobo. Let's now switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude rose 0.40% to $69.70 per barrel, and US WTI gained 0.57% to $65.35. Natural gas fell 1.86% to $2.85, while RBOB gasoline climbed 1.08% as of 13:30 GMT. Finally, two metals prices. Gold strengthened 0.51% and platinum rose 2.52%. Copper slipped 0.17% to $4.69, while aluminium rose 0.16%. Iron ore held steady at $105.54 as at 13:32 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Over to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those markets updates. And that's it on today's edition of the show. From all of us here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you for watching and do have a great weekend, everyone.